Right, let's see if this works again. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to or not. We shall soon see. I've basically managed to
the world's first banking experience.
Managed to stream for an hour with nobody on, and it looks like I'm on. So I'm just going to check if I'm actually working on YouTube here. Yeah, it looks like I'm on. So there we go. Right, we're on. If you can hear me, if you can see it, say something in the chat if anybody's watching at the moment. I do apologise. I don't know why. For some reason, the streaming software just didn't kick off in the last one. Napoleonic Wargaming. Hey Tim, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Looking good. Good. Well, yeah, for some reason I literally streamed for an hour just now with nobody watching and nobody responding to me, and me wondering why it wasn't happening. Nothing was happening. Right, I'm just going to share this on Twitter first of all before I crack on with some more painting of these Japanese. Right, so we'll just have to see who pops in and says hello. So anyway, to go back to what I was talking about previously, or when I was actually doing anything, was I'm painting these Japanese. I've almost finished them now, so basically all you're going to see me do is paint the gun barrels, the flags, and then Agrax them. But we can enjoy that between us, can't we? Since it's working now. I'm very annoyed at that he just decided not to do anything. A little bug I've got to iron out there. It's a nightmare. I've just been painting a few Flames of War Japanese yourself, Type 88 AA guns. Interesting. You should be painting them for Chain of Command, Tim. Never mind Flames of War. These ones are Command Decision. But I've already got hundreds of Japanese done in multiple bases. So these ones I'm doing singular for Chain of Command specifically, and also for Iron Beam Shot Mum as well, just so I can at least take individual casualties and things off. Yeah, so I was sat here talking to myself, wondering why nobody was actually saying anything to me in chat. Because normally it's quite a busy chat, but in this case it wasn't. It looked like there were 5 people waiting for me to start, and it never happened for them. And I just thought, well, it must be bank holiday, and everybody must be off doing stuff, doing interesting things. I am also getting a bit of lag as well, as I always do on using OBS to broadcast, so I'm getting a bit of lag if I don't respond immediately to questions or comments. That's all it is. Fingers crossed the other people who were waiting to watch the previous stream will actually turn up and say hello at some point. So we'll see. But I'm just trying to get these done, really, just get them out of the way and finished off. It'd be just nice to have a load more Japanese. These are the ones that Mr. Morris sent over to me, which is nice. It can never hurt to have too many Japanese. I've already got 60 odd here. I think it's about 60 I've painted over the last couple of days, and now I've got another, let's say, another 99 infantry, plus then there's a ton of like command and crew and stuff as well to paint. It's probably getting off for about 200 figures, but if I crack on with it for the next couple of weeks, I think it'll be alright. We'll get there. As I say, this might be a pretty short stream, but I don't know, we'll see. I'll see if I can find something else to do as well. Well, we're at it. Right. It's just really touching up at the moment at this point. If anybody else is out there, do say hello. And also do check out Tim's channel as well, Napoleonic Gaming. If you're not a subscriber, get yourself across there and subscribe to it. He's got some very good content on there. Lots of histories of the Napoleonic Wars, different units and things, and lots of battle reports. Has the battle report come out for the last game you played down at the club the other day, Tim? Has that arrived on the channel yet? Apologies if it has and I just haven't seen it. Yes. How do, Jason? King Tiger? Not today, unless it's a Japanese tiger. The one that they got sent. Which I don't know if it was a myth or not, I can't remember. But I'll be thinking about getting some US Marine Corps as well to fight against these as well as my Indians, and not yet, be saving it for September. Oh, good stuff. Well, I've got a busy September, so fingers crossed I'll be able to see it. Well, of course, I'll just watch it when it's done. Anyway, I'd like to see it when it comes out. That'd be nice. I nearly got Flames of War Pacific when it came out for Flame of War. What stopped you? Unfortunately, getting hold of Japanese for the Flames of War Japanese miniatures is pretty difficult at the moment. It seems to be a bit like hen's teeth. 3rd edition Flames of War. How much has actually changed between the editions? Anything? Nothing? You know, I've never played Flames of War, and it's probably likely that I probably never will do. Well, that's not right. If somebody offered me a game, I might try it out, but from what I've seen, I'm not. If I've read the rules or at least looked through the rules, I didn't think a great deal of them. I'm not so much into I go, you go games. But if that's what you dig, that's what you dig. There's plenty of room for everybody in here. So, like I say, I've got tons of these ones individually based. About 60 of them, which is easily enough for a platoon. I just haven't sorted them out into any kind of actual units at this point. I'm just painting them, and then I'll sort them out once they're painted. That's generally what I do with most things. Just paint what you got, and then you can sort it out later, can't you? But I'm also on a buying ban as well. 4th was a big change from 3rd. We still play 3rd at the club. But Leah's a fan of 4th. What's the difference? What's the big change? Less tanks? So I say fewer tanks. I'm speaking English properly. We need to have that game of sharp practice at some point, Tim. But my September is quite busy, unfortunately, simply because I'm going to be working up at Otterburn this week and next week, and then I'll be back and around the week after But then after that I'm going to be in Austria for 2 weeks, and then I'll be back for a week, and then I'll be back again up in Scotland for a fortnight, or maybe a week, I don't know yet, depends what happens. So if you fancy a game of short practice up at some point, Tim, let's organise it for after September. I should be able to supply everything, because I just finished the last of my Prussians that I need at the moment off as well the other day. So we can play a reasonable game of it. Let's have a look what we got. So I'm getting through these quite nicely, these Japanese. They're quite quick to paint. More tanks. Very much streamlined. Just a lot of upgrade cars. Looks interesting, but I've not had a chance to dig into it yet. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, it's a very busy month. Everything at work has come at once, and Austria have just suddenly lifted their flight ban, so it means I can get to go and see my wife, which is the far more important thing of everything. But yeah, I've got a lot of work things to do. Just noticed that I've missed one of these fellas with his rifle. Let's get that fixed up. What colour did I use for the uniform? Same as I've always used, Thomas. It's the yellow ochre by Vallejo. Let me find it for you once I've done that. No, sorry, green ochre, not yellow ochre. Don't know if you can see that in either of these. It's the closest to the Japanese uniform. It's not khaki, and it's not Japanese uniform by Vallejo, which is the worst colour, because they weren't yellow, they were brownish. They were like khaki but not khaki. Hi Terry, good to have you on board. This might be quite a short stream, because I was just saying before, I started streaming over an hour ago and realised I wasn't actually streaming to anybody. I was basically just talking into the void, and I thought it was streaming, but it wasn't. Something had happened between the systems that I'm using, OBS and YouTube. Just decided that they weren't going to operate together, so I was basically talking to myself for an hour with a bunch of people waiting. So if you were one of the people waiting previously, I do apologise. And also, I managed to get most of these painted by the time during the other stream. There wasn't a stream, so it didn't even record, so it won't even end up on the channel. You got the Vallejo colour based on the other uniforms colour research. No, not in that case. It's absolutely utterly wrong. It's the worst. It's the worst one, honestly. Have a look at the any of the Osprey books. It's not even close. Yeah, absolutely everything about it. Green ochre is the way to go when it comes to the Japanese, and trust me, I've painted a lot of Japanese in my time. The Japanese uniform is just way too yellow, so I'm going to show you, because I've got both of them here. So green ochre compared to Japanese uniform. I don't know if you can see the difference between the two. Japanese uniform at the bottom there. Let me just see when it comes in. when it comes in on my my camera, make sure I can see it. As I say, unfortunately, I've got a bit of lag. I think I've got it in about the right place. No, miles out. Oh yeah, that's yellow. That's more khaki. It's as simple as that, honestly. At the end of the day, you know, if you want to paint them in Japanese uniform, then that's fine. Go ahead. From my point of view, from what I've seen of the uniforms, this one's much closer. Yeah, it's the biggest and yeah, Vallejo are usually pretty good with their uniform colours. That one they swung and missed, unfortunately. Right, so that's them. They are currently done. I'm doing these in my cheat version. So I've got these now currently block coloured with, and they're really basic, the Japanese stuff, especially in 15mm. What I use, I'll just go through it actually while we're here. So for the basic uniform, I've already mentioned about 8 times now, green ochre for basic uniform. Then for the leather, for the canvas equipment, stone grey, by again via Vallejo, so that's just like the bags and stuff. And then for the leather equipment and boots, beige brown. And that's pretty much it. That's all you need on them. They're very simple. Lots of leather and canvas, and that's really about it. And that's what I do. You'd use Japanese uniform, really don't know any better. I toned it down with a sepia wash, but they are still yellow. Yeah, exactly. Russians and Japanese have many colour variations depending on resources that are available. Yeah, that's true, very true. Well, you know, no uniform is uniform, is it? It's like 50 shades of field grey. It's exactly the same. Anything, if you think it's right, and at the end of the day, your weathering also completely changes the look of uniform as well. But yes, it is still a very yellowish colour, far too yellow for my likings. Right, so my next stage, when I'm doing these, is the Agrax Earthshade, everybody's favourite shade, or at least my favourite shade, and basically I just slop this on, and then I'll just go back and highlight various areas with the original base colours, and that's it for my 15mm. That's as far as I go. That's what I've done with these ones here. I'll show you these here, if you can see those in either camera. So that's them done with, and then oh yeah, English uniform as well for their helmets and painted equipment and stuff. That's what I use. That's the other thing, because not all of these have got helmets on them. But that's how they look when they're finished. They're just waiting to be varnished, and I'm going to wait for them to be varnished with the rest of these. So I'll do them all together. So basically, once I've got these done, that's this batch done. But what I might do is I might base up the next set, because I did do an hour-long live stream and nobody saw it, so I'm kind of making up for lost time at this point. So it's just going to be literally slopping Agrax all over them. Base colour English uniform, yes, pretty much. Painted equipment, English uniform. That works for it. So it's like I said, the helmets and stuff, I paint them in English uniform. That's the best one for it, as far as I'm concerned. It looks close enough. I can't remember what colours I used for my Japanese tanks, because it was such a long time ago that I painted them. I'd have to have a look on my old blog post to see if I noted the colours down. But they have an interesting camouflage scheme, but obviously everything else. And you know what I've forgotten? I've forgotten to paint the flags on these guys. So let me just do those first before I move on to the Agrax. Not thinking straight. They've got flags on some of these chaps on their their rifles, the Rising Sun flags. I'm going to be painting those up, or painting them down, either or. Anyway, as you can see, there's 10 people watching this and I've only got 2 likes. Hit that like button, people, or don't if you are not enjoying it. If you are enjoying it, hit the like button. It helps me out in YouTube world. Right, so I'm just going to find all the ones that have now got flags on them. So there's a few of these with various flags. That's the only problem, I think, with the with these particular figures, the command decision ones. There's a few too many flags on the rifles. I mean, a lot of Japanese soldiers did have their own flags and stuff on things, but I don't know if it was like 1 in every four fellas. But it's a nice little bit of flavour to the figures. A little splash of colour. Let's get these quickly painted. I'd completely forgotten about them. I knew there was something else. You're making more Japanese to run more chain and gang plan. Yeah, that's the idea. That's why these are individually based as well. Because the Japanese I've got are sorry, my seat has been very creaky today. The Japanese I've got are multiple based because I based them originally for rapid fire. So it's a lot easier in chain of command if you have them individually based. Obviously for casualty removal, but I'll also be using them for I ain't been shot mum as well, similar in the jungle as well. That's the plan for these ones. As I say, I'm not put them into any particular units at the moment, so I'm just painting them as they come out of the box, and then they will get organised into units. You had to help moving furniture, no problem. I do like Flames of War a lot. I've not played it in years. Fair enough. So I've never played it. I wouldn't rule it out. It just looks ever so slightly gamey to me, but that's just the way it is. I like friction and craziness in my games. Right, so now we're going to stick on the Rising Sun on each of these flags. The miniature kits. Well, I do like Battlefront's figures very much so, and they're very good. Well, I say again, not all of them are. Some are crap, but you know, on the whole, they have some quite nice figures. And the problem is a lot of their stuff just goes out of production pretty quick, so you can't always get hold of it, which is always a bit of a pain. I can understand, usually, because obviously it's, you know, especially during COVID, there's factories and things that get closed down, don't they, and stuff like that. Manufacturing gets interrupted, and I think they get their manufacturing done in Malaysia, so they are if something, you know, one thing happens, it's a butterfly effect running all the way through, a knock-on effect. Use the same basic colours for vehicles as the corresponding army helmet. German helmet, sort of German grey, Panzer grey, US army. Yeah, I do about the same, to be honest. I do most of my German helmets are in Panzer grey and German grey, as it is with Vallejo colours. Because obviously, you know, it's a military colour, isn't it? And a lot of a lot of them go over the same really. Like the Vallejo primer colours that seem to be excellent matches. I don't use them, so I don't really know them. But if they work, then they work, and that's the main thing, isn't it? Right, so now we're back to Agrax. So, I can see there's 10 people here. Say hello in the chat. Tell me if you're painting something. Tell me what you're painting. Ask a question. Go mad. Let us know you're here. And don't forget to hit that like button. Wise Wolf Paints. Hey, Wise Wolf. Good stuff. Alright, John. Finally, find out what your actual name is. Good to have you on board. With everybody's. So as I said, my current painting method is a very simple Agrax lead painting method. Are we? Am I actually just seeing if I'm in focus or not? The problem is I'm running a couple of seconds behind on the on OBS. Let me just see if we. There we go. That's better focus for you. Let's get that sorted. Nice and sharp. There's no point paying 500 quid for a camera if it's not going to be a sharp picture, is there? That's what I think. Time me on 10 past 3. I can hear the cats in the background starting to get noisome because it's almost close time to their dinner time. We say Thomas, procrastinating painting soldiers between painting buildings, Italiera house with porch, 3D printer stuff, good stuff. Pleasure is all mine. Fascinated to hear Japanese for these. Japanese, yes. Simple, John, is the short answer. Very simple. I like to keep my my painting down to a minimum, especially when it comes to tabletop toys. I don't see there's any point in doing masterpieces when they're not likely to be seen from 3 feet away anyway. It's different if it's going in the display cabinet, but none of these are. But yeah, basically it's block colours of the basics of the base colours, and then I Agrax them. Just slop this stuff on. Then I just go back and highlight in those base colours. Very simple. So there's not a lot of subtlety to it, but it works. And especially when you've got nearly 200 of the things to paint. You've got to have some kind of technique that is nice and quick. That's what I think anyway. Come on, we've got a few people on there. Say hello. Drop me a line on this grey bank holiday afternoon. Passing the time with painting. Do I see any difference, major difference between Agrax and Army Painter Strong Tone? Yes, the Strong Tone stuff, and I have used it in the past. I find it too dark because I think it's quite thick. So it gets into the recesses a lot more than Agrax does. Agrax is more like an ink. Theirs is more like a thicker wash, I guess. It's almost like gel rather than a wash, I guess. I'm not sure how to describe it. It just seems to really block up the details, whereas Agrax just sits in them and emphasises them more so than the Army Painter stuff. I kind of stopped painting the Army Painter I've got some here. You see it. It's probably oh no, there's a tiny bit of it left in there, but yeah, I've not used it for such a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if that had just dried up. I've used it in the past, but I stopped using it even before I found Agrax, so that kind of probably tells you something, that I wasn't so keen on it. I've always said Agrax is the best. Using washers and with medium. What, flow improver, things like that, do you mean, Thomas? Oh no, I forgot to paint his trumpet. I'll come back to that. I have done on bigger scale stuff, not on these though, not on small scale models, not small scale figures, because as I say, the Agrax for my needs works perfectly well. It probably already has some kind of flow improver in it anyway, or at least it feels like it, the way that it flows around on the figures themselves. I know some people will add more flow improver to it, or they will just water it down a bit, but I just put it on fresh out of the bottle because I just think that's it's the best way to use it. And so I've got some. I use other things as well on large scale models, so I'll use like the Flory washers and stuff that I always talk about. They're very good. Clay washers, so they're good for being able to, you can, once they're dry, you can with a damp cloth you can basically reinvigorate them, and they'll come back to life, and you can move them about and stuff and do a bit more with them than you can with a lot of the other washers. So that's another one that I use. Liquid Talent, yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's a bottle of cheat. That's exactly what it is. It's such a. It really just takes out. It does all the heavy lifting for you completely. And I'm all for anybody speeding up their painting process when it comes to figures. I really enjoy painting anyway, but obviously it takes a lot of time, and as it says in the tin, I'm a wargamer. I like to wargame. I like to get my figures on the table. Ironically, you went the other way from GW to paints to AP, although to be fair, I use a mix of paints depending on how I feel like the colours. I'm the same, to be honest. I've got a range. Most of my stuff is mainly Vallejo, but I do have some old Umber acrylics that I've still got from when I was a nipper. I've still got, there's a couple of GW paints in there. Not so many, because I can't understand what the colours are called. But yeah, because I like the Vallejo stuff, and it flows well as well. It's got a nice consistency to it, so I do like that. So that's why I kind of stick with those. But yes, I'm not above using anything else. It's just what I know. You find a recipe online for making a wash using matte medium, flow improver, distilled water and acrylic ink of choice, testing it on buildings. Yeah, that sounds useful. For buildings I've also used burnt umber oil paints thinned down with white spirits. That's nice because you get a kind of a grainy texture from the oil paint, and that's a nice wash as well, a nice quick way of doing things. I've used that definitely in the past. I don't know if you can see these figures now, these ones. I'll just shift everything else out, see if I can get these in. Let's just shift the camera so you can actually see what I'm actually doing at this point, rather than just staring at the thing. Come on, 17 watches and only 7 likes. Must mean that 10 of you don't like this. Hit that like button, doesn't hurt. Don't worry, it's not signing you up to any dodgy Nigerian prince scam emails or anything. Yeah, just get an old bottle, an old food can or something, and just mix it up in that. I would suggest getting the odourless white spirits, but it's a nice way of doing it, and then obviously you can just make it however you want, the thickness however you want, and as I say, it kind of has a bit of a grain from the oil paints. So I guess it gives you a little bit of texture on the thing. Right. So these are now, that's them Agraxed up. I think I'm going to be probably spending the next few weeks painting Japanese just to try and get these done. They have been sat on the sat in my eye line for a little while since Paul sent them through to me a while back, and I haven't yet decided what I want to do with the 14th Army stuff that he sent me. I need to sort it out whether some of it's going to go on multiple bases, some of it's going to go on single bases. So at the moment I'm just kind of sitting them. There we go, that's all them done. Yes, Thomas, do you use craft paints too? Yes, I do. This is a good one I found. This has actually replaced my my khaki. In fact, Fawn by Deco Art, and I've got a few others as well. So like yellow, I've got, if I'm dry brushing green, I'll use this yellow, Sun Yellow, another Deco Art one. I've got big tubs of black paints as well, so I'll use that because I use a lot of black as well sometimes, so I can use that. But yeah, I mean, the stuff is cheap as chips, so I may as well use it rather than using the good paints for you know, for undercoating and things like that. But yeah, when it comes to big things, like especially like on buildings and things, it's just a lot. It's just a lot of a good sense. Yeah, you've got the same. Yeah, and dead cheap as well with it. Right, that is them for now done. I can't do anything else with those until the Agrax dries. So they will. I might do them tonight, but we'll see, because there's not a great deal left to do with those. I just want to get those done and out of the way. As we're live streaming now, and I buggered it up before, I think I'm going to continue a little bit longer. So I'm going to base up some more Japanese. I think that's the next thing to do. So that's one of them. So these are the Japanese I've got. I'm just showing you here. I've got forward observers, got some mortars in there, another crew, we've got some command in there, and we've got some LMGs in there as well. And as I said, I've got infantry there. There's 99 of them in there, I counted earlier. I've already got another 60 that I've just painted, so we've got at least 160 or so infantry, and then the rest of these. Now I'm going to do these in batches of 25, simply because 25 is a nice way of, it's a good way of containing them, really. So I'm just going to count out 25 bases. These are MDF bases. Yeah, lots of soldiers. But as I say, I've already probably got about another 150 plus Japanese on multiple bases. So these ones I want to do on single bases, so I can use them for chain of command and for IMB shot mob, and for when it comes to single figure removal as much as anything else. And I just want to get them painted as well. You know, it's nice. They've been sat there for the last few months. So let's just, so there we go, 25 bases there. And I buy the bases in bulk because I know I'm going to use them. Gaming multiple platoons in chain of command. Well, there is Big Cock, isn't there? I've never played it. I don't know if I have the space to do it, to be honest. If I am doing, I mean, it's I don't know, it just seems multiple platoons basically becomes IMB shotman, really. And I know that Ian Fuller and some of his mates have redesigned IMB shotman so you can activate with the dice like in chain of command. So I think chain of command is too granular for doing lots and lots of platoons. I think I prefer to keep that as part of the campaign system, where you can swap platoons in and out as and when you need them. If anyone else has tried it, let me know. I certainly haven't. That's not to say that it wouldn't work. Because I just think, you know, just one I mean, it could work, but I don't know how you'd do it with the dice rolls. That's the thing. Don't know how that, unless you just doubled up the amount of command dice. Perhaps that would be one way of doing it, I guess. So, one of the things with these command decision figures is they are very flashy. You do get a ton of flash on them. So there's a lot of cleanup with these. Slightly annoying, but in the scheme of things, it's no major issue, is it? It's just an extra part that you've got to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean these up, get these onto some bases, and then I think that will do for the night, because I've got to go and feed the cats in a second anyway, because they've not been fed since this morning, so they're most likely dead. Or at least that's how it feels when they're screaming at me. Well, there's a lot of people watching, so chuck in some comments, folks, if you're out there. Say hello. You play multiple platoons just for fun, using info platoon with a tank platoon or morale tracker. Yeah, that would work with the different morale trackers. How do you do it with the command dice? Do you add more command dice, or leave it as it is and then just make sure that only it would work? Definitely work with yeah, with like armour or something like that, and armour support. And as I say, if I'm moving into those kind of levels of gaming, I don't want something as granular as chain of command, because there's a lot to think about. It might be worthwhile trying out sometime. I don't think it hurts. There we are, there we are. Cut his flag off, because I'm fed up with these. All of them having flags. Well, not all of them, but you know, lots of them. Seems very strange. It won't cut off. I'll leave it on. What are these? These are from Command Decision. Quencilii. Their Command Decision 15mm. You can get them through the Skytrex website, which is now owned by Warlord. I can't remember if it's still down at skytrex.co.uk. If somebody can find it and stick it in the chat, that would be helpful. Wise Wolf, I know what you mean about the flash. The bayonets need a bit of work with file in some cases as well. Yeah, definitely. They are a bit of a mess. They can be. It's, especially when you've got over 100 of them to do. But these are dead cheap. They're one of the Peter Pig also do 15mm. Japanese, as does I found out this morning AB Miniatures. Well, I knew they did, I just couldn't forgotten. AB Miniatures as well also does them as well. And then but these are by far the cheapest on the market. You get a bag of 50 for pennies basically. But you know, you get what you pay for. Some of the poses are really nice, some of them not so nice. They're really some weird poses in there, but there's some really nice ones as well. Each platoon separately, and infantry goes first, alternating sides. Okay, interesting way of doing it. I'll certainly have a think about it. Yeah, definitely with armour, I think would be an interesting way of doing it. An armour platoon and infantry platoon working in tandem. Eureka, yeah, sorry, that's how I mean Eureka, not AB. It's because I was looking at the Eureka site, and for some reason I was looking at the AB stuff. But yes, it's Eureka is the Eureka 15mm, and they've got some really nice figures on those. Well worth investigating. I bought a couple of them for Star Wars actually, 15mm Star Wars, some of their officers, and used them as Imperial officers in 15mm Star Wars. So there's plenty of ways you can do these things. What what I was saying, the amount of flash the amount of flash I took off my Battlefront Jaeger yesterday was tremendous. I had enough to turn some silly figures into radio men. Brilliant. What glue do I use? Well, you're going to see in a second. Super glue. That's it. That's all I use. But then I will add polyfiller as well to the bases. So you're basically holding them in two ways. But yeah, super glue is enough. Works well enough. I know there's some people that get really upset when you tell them that you use super glue on MDF, but you know, it works. And anyway, wood glue wouldn't be a tight enough bond for the metal. I think Irregular also do some 15mm Japanese as well, but irregular, so you really take your chance with Irregular. Some of their figures are fantastic, some of their figures are, not to put too fine a point on it, shit. It just depends what you get. I had some of their 6mm Romanians and they look like little mushrooms. Now I know you don't get a great deal of detail on Romanians, but these really did look like mushrooms. So this is what I do. Get my super glue out. I'm not going to put the what's it called on here, the polyfiller this time round. I'm just going to let these dry, because like I said, I've been painting now for 2 hours, an hour of which I was sat talking to myself. Get that on. And if you do need to speed up the process for super gluing, then use this stuff, Instaset. I'll show you in a second. It's just a CA accelerator. Romanians look like mushrooms. Yeah, they did. Honestly, it's hilarious. But I can't use these. This is not a fantasy game. Oh, we've got one fella laid down. I shouldn't have picked him out. I'll grab another one. He needs to go on a bigger base than these ones. Well, 13 of you watching, 9 likes. Hit that like button. You know you want to. It doesn't hurt us. But yeah, actually I bought those figures from Irregular. I went to their warehouse one time in York when I was a student there, because it was on my way to university, or it used to be at least. And it was so I just called in one time. Wasn't sure what to buy, so I just got some 6mm Romanians. Baking soda, that's super glue hardened, yeah. Yes, that's another method of using it. Cheaper method than this Instaset. But the reason I got this Instaset is because I use it on rigging for First World War aircraft. So when you're holding the rigging into the glue, you need it to set pretty quick, so I use this because it comes with a little squirty thing. Baking soda doesn't. And I'm just doing this really just as a demonstration. I don't need this to speed up. And I'll say just give them a squirt, and I'll say your super glue is set. Done. So I could give those a bit of a basing if I wanted to, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to leave it there for now, chaps, because as I say, it's coming up 3:30. The cats are staring at me as though I've done something wrong. You can see Tiny over there. Let's see if she appears on the screen for you. And I'm going to leave it at that, I think, for this evening, for this afternoon. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have done, leave me a like, drop a comment, not only in the chat but also on the actual thingamajig itself, the comments, and I shall see you in the next live. Oh, just before I go, one more thing was that, yeah, videos are going to slow down over the next month simply because I'm going to be away for quite a bit. I'm going to be away at no problem. Thanks for watching. I'm going to be away over in Otterburn for the next week and the week after, and then I'll be back for a week, and then I'm going to be in Austria for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to be up in Edinburgh for 2 weeks. So video output will slow down somewhat, but there are plenty of videos coming, so stay tuned, and there'll be more stuff in the future. It'll just be down to one video a week, I would think, and I'll take a fortnight off anyway. Alright guys, see you all when I see you.